G'day guys, Mate with the Outer Circle, and today we're talking female representation in Warhammer 40,000. What a bizarre topic. Why today? Well, Arch Warhammer recently, I think overnight, released a video talking about this feminist critique of 40k and how there's no female characters and blah blah blah. I want to look at it from a slightly different angle. The thing is, I kind of agree with Games Workshop on this one. This is one of those times where I'll go in and bat for them. I know that's crazy to think that I would actually support Games Workshop, but hear me out here. This is what I think is the problem. It's a lose-lose situation for Games Workshop, no matter what they do, apart from maybe making Space Marines female. And there's a problem with that. And it's simply, it fucks with the fluff. And if you fuck too hard with core fluff like that, you piss off your long-time fans. Even Games Workshop has limits to how much they'll piss off their fans, I believe, anyway. So, today's episode, I'm taking Games Workshop's side. Yep, that is hell freezing over, that sound you hear in the background, so don't be alarmed. Alright, first of all, classic Sisters of Battle. The kits that never get updated. This kit gets, well, it gets flack for a few reasons. The biggest thing of all being, it's got tits. Yes, because the cuirass, the chest armor, has sculpted on boobies, that's bad, because it's sexualizing the female form. Keep in mind that real body armor now is starting to get modified by real militaries to actually fit the female form better, and one of the things they're doing is actually allowing some boob room. Yes, that's right, it's something that the real army does, because funny enough, women, all different shapes and sizes, some of them need that room. In fact, I know a few older sergeants and warrant officers who could probably use a titty harness themselves, but that's neither here nor there. So, this armor that portrays women as badasses, too sexualized. Then you've got this end of the spectrum, your witch elves. Well, they're scantily clad and showing flesh. That's sexualized as well, because it's showing flesh. Doesn't matter if there's male characters that do it, doesn't matter what the background reasons are behind it. Oh no, you can't do that. That's sexualized as well. Okay, what about these witches? You can see there's males in there, and there's females. And the armor is very form-fitting. Is that okay? Well, no, that's not okay either. There's no real reason for this. It's just, it's still sexualizing the female figure. It's an idyllic female figure, even though it's an alien race, not humans. Alright, well, what about Escher? No, Escher, that's no good either, because these are all Amazon women. They've all got feminine proportions and big hips and all that kind of thing. It's like, well, hang on, that's what females generally have. I mean, you can go out of your way to sculpt miniatures that have different body shape to that, but how much representation do you want? Games Workshop's got to make kits that sell, and in order to sell and justify their existence, they've got to sell a fair few of them. I don't think that size 18 Sue is probably going to sell as well as the models that all look the same as each other and convert really well into the same warband. I'm sure if they came up with some sort of pudgy short woman with no hips and cankles and they gave it good fluff, maybe that would sell, who bloody knows, but right now it's not what people are into. Then you've got Harlequins. Well, same thing, the males and females basically dress the same. But that's not good enough either, because the women are still more sexualized than the men. No matter what, the point I'm getting to is there's no winning. And, women are weaker, they have the smaller feminine proportions, yada yada. Then you get to models like Valkyria. The Khorne champion, who is a female. And she's a demonic female, and yes, she has some sexualization. She does have the breastplate with breasts, but, it's not over the top. In fact, it's quite restrained. That's got to be only a B, maybe a C cup. And the thing is, she's a strong woman doing all her own killing. In hand-to-hand combat, the domain of the man. This should please women, but apparently it doesn't either. And when I say please women, I mean those like crazy feminist types. Normal women don't give a shit. Then you get to Stormcast Eternals, and they're like, okay, well, let's show that some of those are in fact female champions. And it's got the same thing. It's got the smaller shoulders and the larger hips, or the hip to torso ratio is different. And of course the breastplate, designed for actually fit breasts. And that's not good enough either, because it's still sexualizing the Stormcast too much. Same with this Stormcast character. She has boobs. Boobs are bad, and she's got long hair. I'm sure if she had Germanic cheekbones and a shaved head and went to Nine Inch Nails concerts, I don't know, wore flannelette on the weekends, that would be more acceptable. This is where we get to the crux of the argument. We get to the Dire Avengers. I've just picked Dire Avengers. It could be any sort of Eldar aspect, but basically, they're whatever gender you want them to be. They're pretty androgynous. And thanks to the armor, you can't tell what's in it. At which point you say, alright, you've now got your total equality, everything's the way you want it, there's no sexualization, and then you get complaints of, oh, well, we can't tell who's a woman, for all we know they're all men. And this is what I call a no-win scenario. You try and demonstrate that they're women by giving them female form in some way, suggestive with the hips or the breasts, you'll get in trouble. You give them feminine faces with long hair, you'll get in trouble, because not all women identify as long hair, perky-chinned little chipmunks. You try and do something like witches, where the men and the women are both equally scantily clad. No, that's still too sexualized. You can't win. So, I think the only approach with Games Workshop is to just fucking follow the course. Just keep producing the miniatures they have and be completely unapologetic for it. And it's not very often I agree with Games Workshop. Everyone who knows this channel knows this. But at the end of the day, they're doing what they can, because I think they're smart enough to realise they could change it so Sisters of Battle have formless armour that looks like Space Marines, in which case you lose the aspect of them that appealed to painters, which was the interesting things going on with their armour. If you made it just a generic smooth chest plate, you're essentially just painting Marines at that point, and the fact that they're women, it's the same as the Dire Avengers. You can't tell. You just can't tell, and you're relying entirely on these bob cuts, or whatever it's called, that they've got. It's a fucking shame. And then you get great models like this, which are genuinely interesting, dynamic, strong, independent women who can take the fight to men on equal terms. Yeah, they may not have the raw strength, but they've got speed, agility, they've got cunning. All things that are, not really determined by sex. It's absolutely fine. Hell, you could even say some of these are transgender. Maybe these are post-op transsexual women who've become men. Maybe these are transsexual men who've become women. You don't know. It's not necessarily hypersexualizing females. The models are androgynous. They're what you choose for them to be at the end of the day, especially with other races. And that's all there is to it, really. It's just fucking models. It's not something that needs to be tackled with social justice and the knives and pitchforks and the torches and... No. It's the catch-22. If you make men and women perfectly equal, you can't tell what's what, people complain. You make them so that women stand out by having some feminine features, people will complain. There's no winning. I do not envy Games Workshop in this situation. Anyway, one of those contentious topics, I will leave it to the audience to say whatever they like. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.